What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bigfoot Report. I'm your host, Wayne, joined as always by my partner in crime, the chick.
What is up, all of my people? I hope that y'all are
Uh,
well.
how are you doing tonight, ma'am?
I'm okay. I'm waiting to see if it's gonna rain or not. It's
Miss
been thundering.
Tiffany. I knew your name. I have enough sense. I have enough sense to learn a person's name
Well, I mean,
before I
it's on the
start
banner at the
talking shit
bottom.
about them. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
saying.
And I would just go ahead and get this shit out of the way because he does not deserve any more time than this couple seconds we're going to give him. Dude, appreciate your advice. That's awesome. But forgive me for not taking it from a man that's been podcasting for 10 years with 1,100 subscribers. But we have the small show. Our YouTube channel is small. Yes, sir. I'm glad that you can count. But the podcast that everything gets uploaded to is quite large. So you just don't know what you're talking about, bud. You treat people like shit. You're just not a good person. That's all I'm gonna. That's all I'm gonna say. If you want to say something, you can, but I don't want to give him any more time than that.
I agree. We don't need that kind of negativity and toxicity in our life.
And that's all he is. That's all he wants to bring to the subject, and that's sad. I don't know what happened to this man in his life that has made him so bitter. I started to do something and I didn't, but I don't know what's happened. But he is a bitter, just a bad human being. That's all
Yeah.
there is to it. You need to get a life, dude, and grow up.
Be better.
All right. Everybody in here, Nana Boss, what's up, ma'am? Kevin Bode. Oh, we shouldn't take much time doing this. I'm sorry. Annette.
I know we don't want to bore people.
I know. Annette Hensley, that's Troy's mom. I know T Roy's in here. There he is. Everybody, thank y'all so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us tonight. We appreciate it. You're the best core group in the world.
And Chris Blaylock, she will not be in here this evening. She has an hour drive ahead of her, so she will catch all of us on the way home.
Yeah, I hate that. It's been a while since she hasn't been in here.
Yeah, she said she hated missing it.
Nah, it'll be okay. She'll catch the replay.
Yeah.
All right. Our guest tonight, I'll talk a little bit about her. Her name is Donna. I didn't even ask her how to pronounce her last name correctly. Copus. I will get her to clear that up when she comes out. But Donna lives on a farm in Ohio and has her entire life, and she is part Native American. Her grandmother was full, like 100%. So she's got some really interesting, cool stuff to talk about. Y'all know how we feel about hearing the Native American stories. I think they are very, very reputable. So
Yes.
she is waiting patiently backstage. We will get to her in a second, but let's pay some bills first.
Yeah, since we do this just for the money, let's go ahead.
Oh, that was it too?
I'll stop. I'll stop.
Anybody new to the show tonight, please hit that subscribe button and help me pay for my next Lamborghini.
And all the dental work I might have to have done to my face. Come on, y'all.
Making so much money. But you guys, we're being as petty as someone else, so we're gonna stop right now. We are grown. Please hit that subscribe button. If you are new, we would love to have you stick around, tell your mom and them all that cool stuff.
And if you would like to be on with Wayne and myself, you can reach out to both of us, Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com or me, Tiffany at paranormalworldproductions.com. We have, I think, one Tuesday. I think we've taken care of all the openings. But if you reach out to us, we can absolutely get you in that slot.
Absolutely. Paranormalworldproductions.com is the name of our website. Please head over there and check that out. All of the shows under the studio's umbrellas. Sign up for the Bigfoot newsletter. Check out the other shows. Like I said, pick up some merch. But please head over to paranormalworldproductions.com.
And if you have any questions for tonight's guest, please put them in all capital letters. We do a rapid fire Q&A at the end of the show. And I would love to get all of y'all's questions in. Just put them in all capital letters, please.
Animalresearch.org is another foundation that I started to get rich. Yeah, we go out, we do investigations. We're up to like 12, 15 members, something like that, several, like 6 or 7 states now. We get together and do outings together, group outings, and check on people's property if they believe they're having believed Bigfoot activity on their property, and you would like to have someone to come and check it out. We would love to be the ones that you trust to do that. You can get all that info and check out just some of the other stuff going on with the organization over at animalresearch.org. Are you muted?
Then I couldn't get my mouse to work. Our biggest moneymaker, as you know. Please become a channel member for $1.99 a month. Our antics that you see here happen all the time on our members onlys. It's just $1.99 a month, 199 pennies. Dig in your couch, under your car seats. You get so many different perks. We give you so many different things for just $1.99 a month. We don't keep this money. This money goes to fund StreamYard and the thumbnails and all the programs that Wayne has to run to make this show work.
Yeah, because some people actually pay for their StreamYard that they use. You know, if you notice the little icon up in the corner, if it says StreamYard, you're using the free version. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. But yes, please consider joining our channel membership. We give you so many things. We enjoy hanging out with our members. They're our family. Just consider joining us today.
Yeah, please do. Please and thank you. And lastly, all this time we're taking up.
You're so boring.
I know. The Cash App and the Venmo are open. You guys were always great at hooking us up with the super stickers, but we have our reasons. The fee isn't as much, and we don't have to wait a month to get it. So yeah, if you'd rather help us out that way, the Cash App and the Venmo are open, and it is greatly, greatly appreciated. Because as Tiffany said, to run a successful show, it takes money. Nothing in this that we do is free. So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that a lot of you guys don't know about. So it helps us out if you can. We would greatly appreciate it. If you can't, thank you anyway. Just hit the subscribe button.
I had to make sure I was unmuted before I went to speak again.
All right. I think we got all of that up out the way. Best mother flipping $1.99 ever. I agree with you, Alex. What's up, buddy? Alan, hey, bud. Al Kakaya?
Yes, and we've struggled saying this last name before, and I really can't say it with my tooth. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get it started. Donna is waiting patiently backstage. Let's get her out.
Kakia.
Donna, how you doing, ma'am?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Good, Donna. Thank you for coming.
I'm so very sorry that Tiffany interrupted you so rudely like that. Are you hearing us okay, Donna?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Pronounce your last name for me.
It's Copus.
Copus. Okay. Copus. I don't remember if that's how I did it, but
yeah, pretty close. You were pretty close.
All right, ma'am. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us this evening. Like we do with everyone, we just want you to just take your time, get comfortable, start at the beginning, and tell us what exactly happened, how old, where, and just what happened that got you interested in this topic.
Well, like I said, my dad was a hunter and a trapper. He dug roots. He was born in 1927, actually in a cabin back in the woods. When I say cabin, he's country. And I grew up on a big farm. It's like 300 acres. And so I was 6, and my dad gave me whatever, but the rule was you had to work for it. So on this time, there was county fair in town. I want to go to the fair. So he's like, okay, well, I had to go dig roots. So he takes me out, and there's a big patch of yellow root. People call it golden seal. We call it yellow root. And so we've been sitting there. I wasn't digging a whole lot myself. Dad was doing most of the digging, then I just clean it. You break the tops off, and I had 2 big feed sacks from the cows. You have big burlap feed sacks. And the tops go in one bag, and the roots go in the other. I've been sitting there doing that for quite a while, and my dad chewed tobacco, and he'd always take the long green from the barn because we raised tobacco. And he'd carry out in the top of his bibs. And he got up from where he was digging. He walked over this big stump there beside where we were digging. So he laid that tobacco on that stump, and then he didn't call me Donna. He used to call me Donnie, or he'd call me Duke. And he's like, come on, Duke, we're going to go. And I was like, I'm grumbling because I don't want to leave. I'm thinking I ain't going to get enough money. So I'm like kid, dig my toe in the dirt, and it's like, nah, I said, come on. And so I got by the hand, and we was walking away. And as we was walking away, I looked back behind me, and this big, huge black figure stood up from not 30 feet from where I'd been sitting. It stood up. It took that tobacco off that stump. And of course, now I'm scared because I'm yanking on Dad's hand. And he just kind of shook it a little bit. And he says, nah, just knock it off. Come on, let's go. He said, it's all right. You leave him alone, he'll leave you alone. And this thing's 8 foot tall. I mean, to me, it looked like a mountain because it's so huge and I'm little. And so it walks back up into the cliffs because we were pretty deep in the woods, and we came on home. But that I never really figured out if that was Dad's way of starting my education and show, because he interacted with them too, and as his mother did. My grandmother. They were back in the country, so. The cabin where Dad grew up, it sits under Buzzard Roost. It's a big conservancy owns it now, so it's a big area.
And Donna, real quick, let me interrupt you real quick.
Sure.
I don't think I mentioned that you come from Shawnee background.
Yes.
Your grandmother was full-blooded, so that would have made your dad half,
right,
and your quarter.
Right.
So I know your family has some stories, and I would love to hear them.
Oh, there's well, I'm 62, so I'm a little older. I've been around a while, and I grew up in the woods. That was on that farm. I was a wild child. I was crazy. But I hated school, so I told my dad. I was first grade. I was like, "You buy me a new pony, Dad, I'll go to school." Well, he bought my pony. 3 days after I got the pony, I ran off on the pony. So I literally lived in the woods. I hated going to school. I hated being inside. So I spent my time. We had a creek,
Yeah.
I would go there, and I guess my next I would see them. Dad taught me the markers, the stacked rocks, the X's, the trees. He calls them plan signs. They look like teepees. They're like this. These aren't little teeny branches. These are big sticks. Big, almost not logs, but these things are 25 feet long, and they make them look like a teepee. And it's coming down. And then the marker rocks. Dad, you see those? Those means. That's their markers. This is their territory. This is telling them it's safe here. This is where you can get food at, and this is a Pacific group because they're in groups. They're not, it's not, sometimes you'll see a single one, but that's rare. They're more in like a family group. And they mark their areas. So he showed me that, and the rule was you never touch those, you never move those. You respected that. And when I call them the watchers. I don't call them Bigfoot or Sasquatch. They're the watchers because our Shawnee legend says the first thing was that the Moon-eyed people came and they had children with the Shawnee. Not meaning that the watchers had children with the Shawnee. The watchers were left behind to protect the children. I've been asked, is this like the angels that came down and had, the giants and had children and
the Nephilim.
Yeah, that's no.
Now you said the Moon-eyed people.
That's actually have artifacts. They're stone heads that's been passed down for early 1800s, and my family has came from generation to generation because each generation. My very first grandfather that came here in I got letters from 1797, and he married the first Shawnee woman there. I have her name was Lame Wolf. But he was called Red Bill because he had this big, he was Irish, so he had this big, huge, long red beard, and he's actually buried by residues. So each generation, our bloodline is deeper because each generation we came down, we had that Native American, and I still do, all the way through the Shawnee. So our heritage, the old stories, has been handed down. I was the kid, wild child that ran in the woods. I was the kid that had more pleasure of sitting in the rocking chair with my grandma and listening to her stories. And like my brothers heading for the bar, not have to go drag them out. No, I was home listening to grandma.
Yeah, I did a short episode a couple years ago on the Moon-eyed people. I had never heard of them. I just doing researching something to talk about, trying to find something interesting to talk about, and I ran across them, and they were native to like my area, like the North Georgia mountains. In that area, that there's even to this day on, I can't think, Fort Mountain in Ellijay, there's like a statue, a tribute to the Moon-eyed people up there. That's really cool. I wasn't expecting to hear about that tonight.
Well, these are little stone heads that, like I said, has been passed down. They're like a ceremonial type artifact. My dad passed away a few years ago, and then they came to me, and I haven't decided which child. I still have 3 children, but I haven't decided whether that or a grandchild will get them. They'll be held in trust until the appropriate person. You kind of have to be chosen. It's not something that's given freely. You have to prove yourself to get those. Believe me, I worked really hard. I followed a lot of rules that I did not want to, but it's and I still follow the old ways. I stopped the old ways. Still follow the old way. I still hunt. I do gifting for the watchers. I do gifting. I make special apple cakes. It's homemade. I have areas that I still go to that God specifically told me this has to be done at this time of year. Actually, we have a full moon coming tomorrow. I think that I'll have to do a couple things then. But anyway, that's how I grew up, and I grew up with them. Dad's rules was you can't be stupid. You respect them. Don't be stupid because don't never think that they can't be dangerous, because they can. Basically, you leave them alone and respect them. But there's always that rogue. There's that chance there's a rogue there that can be violent. A couple times in my life, I've had a couple, not so much violent directed towards me, but I've seen it.
Okay, can you talk about that? What do you mean by you've seen it? What did you see violence wise?
Okay, well, my dad, like I said, my dad was 84. My mom got sick first, and I moved her here with me. He told me, "You fix the place, move, Mom." Well, he didn't come. He stayed on the farm, and then he had a stroke. And then when I moved him, he was 84, and he was in my house for a while, but I put a mobile home right in my front yard so I could just walk out my door and into his, because he was total care. And for the last 2 years of his life, I never left him. I stayed there continuous. And but within a month of my dad being here, when I built my house, my bedroom, because I love the woods. I still love the woods. I still hang out in the woods. I do 10-mile hikes, But I put big plate glass windows. My bedroom sits against the woods. So when I own that back here, so there's no one going to be there looking in my window. So my windows are, with plate glass windows. And I had the old time door. You know what that old time screen door is? It's not a storm door. It's just a screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there, because I have a creek and I'm sitting under the trees. I have springs that feeds my house. I don't have county water. I don't have city water. I have springs. But I'd leave that bedroom door open in the summertime because that breeze comes. I didn't have to have air conditioning. But within a month, Dad being here, and the first night, I smelled this horrible smell, which I should have recognized from my childhood, because they do have different smells. They have that horrible smell. It smells like a septic blew up, like urine and yucky. And then they have that earthy, leafy, sometimes it's even got like a honeysuckle mixed in with that earthy smell. But this night it was a bad smell. And again, I woke up, it's like 3 a.m. I wake up, I was like, oh, crap, did the freaking septic line bust or what? And I didn't see nothing, no. And finally the smell went away. And then the second night, again, I saw the shadow. I got this, you can imagine, my whole wall was glass. And it had, like the window sill or the window seat where you can set up in the window. That's how it's shooted out, so I could set up in there if I wanted to. And I saw the dark shape there by that window. And again, I'm thinking, because we have coyotes, bears, bobcats that comes into my barn, all kind of crap. And I thought, is it a bear? Is there a bear come down? And again, it went away. But the third night, I closed my bedroom door. I did. I was like, it's getting a little concerning. The fourth night when I went out, I got midnight to put Dad to bed because he wouldn't go to bed until he watched the news. And he didn't walk very good from the stroke, so I would have to help him. It was a whole routine of getting him prepared for bed. And when I came out at the corner, my house sits in a little valley. And I'd left this big, huge cedar tree for shade in the corner of my yard. And I seen the black figure, and I smelt that. And in my mind, I guess, I don't know what I was thinking, but I carry a gun, even when I'm moving around no matter what. I carry a pistol. Like I said, I got all kind of critters out here, snakes. And so I hurried up and got into the house, and Dad goes, what the heck's wrong with you? You crazy? And I was like, no, Dad, I think there's a bear out there. He said, show me. So I helped him to the door. And he's like, He said, you just leave him alone. He'll leave you alone. He's just a watching. He said, he's just watching me. He's okay. And I'm like, you mean? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. But it would stand there and watch me go down. And I put him, and it'd be there for a while. And then eventually it would move away. And it was probably, I can't remember, 3 or 4 months into me doing that. Again, I put Dad to bed. And it was like, later, it's after 3 a.m. with the screams. I hear these outrageous screams, like it's like an elephant trumpeting. Like the growls and the screams that literally vibrated the house. So I'm jumping up. Now I have a 380. It's a British Enfield, not 3. I have the British Enfield 303. And I got armor piercings. This is a 1917 old Army rifle. It's another hand-me-down. So I can blow up a motor block if I want to. And yes, I am a good shot. But I set it at the door, and when I came out, instead of picking it up like a dummy or even the shotgun, I just came on out because I hear that. And I don't, when you're just kind of addled and you're not thinking straight. And I came out, I'm in barefooted in my nightgown. Nobody knows. There's no one here. Dad can't walk. And I just came out, and we had moved when I moved Dad, he had one pig left. I moved her. She's probably about 400 pounds, sow hog now. So her pen is tall because when she stood up, she's way bigger than me and she's taller.
Mm-hmm.
But that screaming went down and it went through. I'd walk down. When I get down to the hog pen, then there's a creek and I have a big bridge I have to go over because I'm backing against the woods, so I have a way to travel down. But it had stepped over this side of this hog pen and into, of course, this hog pen is mud. And stepped down, and then it went over the other side, went down, hit through the creek, and then I had a chicken coop, and it just destroyed my chicken coop. There's chickens flying. I mean, it's just splintered. So I'm standing there like a big dummy, and I'm like, that's what basic said to myself, you big dummy. Nobody knows you're out here, and you don't get the heck back to the house. So I went back, and then Dad when I moved in, he had this real old dog, the old Jake. He was a bull mass and pit bull mix. So he's a big dog, but he was old. And I stood in the door, and then I heard Jake scream. And let me tell you, that was enough because your instinct, you want to go help. And I couldn't. I could not go. There's like something physically stopped me from going out that door. I could not do it. And I could hear him screaming. And I could hear the screams from the creature, I can hear it. But when you get to the end of my road, you go down the road. Of course, like I said, I'm in the deep country. And probably about 2 miles down the road, there's an old lady that lived there. She had little dogs. And she called the cops because it got her dogs. And then the cops comes out and he's telling me, oh, it's just a coyote. You're hearing a coyote. And I said, okay, whatever you say, I know it's not a coyote. But that thing traveled another 6 miles up and it went back into where the woods is that I told you about that they're logging out now. That's where he ended up out. It didn't physically attack me, but the screams was enough to make you pee pants.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm sure.
I never figured out really whether it was Dad's watcher or whether it was a different one because the next night, Dad's was back and there was no violence. There was no carrying on. However, I did find that his dog was still alive, but it was bitten through the hindquarters. These massive teeth went through him, like through his hindquarters and his private areas. And
that was a coyote.
I do not know how the dog was alive.
It was a coyote. It was a coyote.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was. This was a massive coyote who got bit him. I don't want to see that sucker. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
But, that was one time that Then what? The next night it's fine.
Yeah. I've heard before that these things, the watchers, as you call them, they don't like dogs at all. And then I've heard stories of people saying they've seen them with dogs and with coyotes. I don't have an opinion on that.
Yes, I do, because the coyotes travel with them. They use them. They hunt. You'll hear the coyotes before you hear their screams. I've seen them. I'm not sure. Like I said that night, I don't know what set it off. I don't know what made it mad. Something happened somewhere that caused that violence to happen. And whether the dog ran, it's mad, it's like, I have a temper, I get pissed off and I have a temper. So God help the one that gets in front of me, just step aside and let me go. So I don't know if that was the case of that, it being mad and the dog running away. It didn't hurt the hog and it just busted the chicken coop apart. But it's like wherever the dogs came out, this is a big dog. She had little dogs, so you can imagine this big dog was shaking like a rag doll, and he's hurt severely. So again, I don't.
Okay.
But I do know with the coyote thing. You'll hear the coyotes, and then you'll hear them. There's also, we also have the legend of the dog man, how the dog man was created and why it was created. The Shawnee have a story about that. Way back, the way that this was told to me way back, like the early 1800s or whatever, or maybe, we had some shaman here, like the medicine man, and they were doing some bad stuff, and they were using the watchers. So some of the watchers had turned bad, and they was like coming and taking the children and the women or whatever. So the good ones got together, and they were going to have to do a battle with them to drive them back in. I won't go into the whole thing, but anyway, and that's when the dog men were created to fight beside the warriors for the. Now, I have a theory, and never whether they were turned into like dog creatures or whether those warriors were just because we also I still do it. I can go out in the woods. I dig herbs. There's a lot of things that you can that's natural that can be used for to alter personalities or whatever, however you want to say it. So I never seen a dog man type thing. I've never seen that until October of last year. I did a long hike. There's another girl that was hiking with, and she wanted to show me a new area, and I'm still judging, trying to figure it out myself. We did like a 6-mile hike back deep into the woods, and we was coming out. It's getting dark, and we still had about a mile to get back up to the car. As we was coming down the trail, it was a pretty wide trail, and it was around deer season. And as we was coming down through, I looked ahead of us, and I seen a black figure in the trail ahead of us. First, I thought it was a big turkey, because it was far away. And I asked her, I said, "What is that?" And she's like, "Oh no." I was like, "Is it a turkey?" And then she's like, "I don't know. It kind of looks like a dog head." And she's like, "Oh, I hope somebody didn't throw a dog out. I hate it." But it was just, it was tracking back and forth. It's just tracking back and forth and back and forth. And so we just kept going. There was 3 of us. And then the third girl she's like, "What is that?" I don't know, but we got to pass it. Whatever it is, we can't get out without going that way. And there's a big doe jumped off to the right, and it took up through the woods. And again, like I said, we're just going farther and farther. And the farther we went, the bigger this thing got. And I'm looking, it had like a head of a German Shepherd. And then I thought, well, maybe somebody's playing with a dog with a ball, throwing it, making the dog jump up. You're trying to rationalize in your head, what is this thing? And I carry my pistol. I have a pouch I carry, and because I walk with I'm getting older, so I will, like the staff, I walk with that, and it's pretty good size. So the other girl, she's looking around, she's looking for a stick. She's like, I don't know, she's getting concerned too. And finally she finds this stick, so and I done pull my bag around, and I carry an extra clip. I done reached down in there. I got my hand on it, and I got my hand on the safety because I'm going to flip it. And we just kept going, but the farther we went, the bigger that thing got. And then finally, we were fairly close, but everything went silent. There was no bugs. There was no frogs. There was, everything just went. And when you get that feeling like every hair on the back of your neck comes up, and you're like, you're on guard. And by this time I've done flipped my safety, and I've got it. I got it in the bag, but got my hand on it. And it stood up, and when it stood up, it came up on 2 legs, and it was the size of a man. It was big. So I'm like, still in my mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe, this is a big German Shepherd, or, it's huge, whatever it is. But maybe it's somebody in the woods, and they're playing, you're trying. But again, we can't get out. We have to pass that spot to get to the car. And we get there, it went off to the right into the woods the way the deer went. It went that way. And we get up there and have to get to the parking lot. When we get up there, the one girl, she's like, I have to pee. I was like, I'm get the heck in the car. My key fob will not work. It's like this horror movie, you're trying. I had to unlock the door by hand. And I'm like, you pee wherever you want to pee. I don't care. I'm getting in the car. So to this day, I don't, I've heard the legend of how they were made and why they were made. But
now, you said they were created, and forgive me, but I mean, created by who? Created by what? Is this something I should know?
Well, the legend says that the Shawnee medicine men, they made these dog men things to help
Shawnee
them.
medicine men. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. In my mind, I try to rationalize things. And I, with legends and the old stories, you kind of have to pick them apart. And I'm thinking, did they give them something that made them more fierce to fight harder? Shawnee warriors are very fierce warriors. And there was also, in this area, there was a women's sect that was warriors. It was just women. And the old saying was, pray to God the men get you, not the women, because you don't want them to. They were that bad. So Dad had taken me before he died, when he could still walk. There's a cave here. I actually do gifting in. We have a big cave system here. I do gifting in those caves. They all intertwine. They go underground, and you can actually end up down into the river if you can follow those. And that's basically they stay in those caves. But he'd take me to the entrance of this one place, and there was a buggy axle, an iron buggy axle that's driven at the entrance to that cave. And he just some things he told me you have to do, because that's where they were driven into there, so that the bad can't come back out. Of course, like I said, you're dealing with old lores and legends, country superstition, whatever. So I can't tell you that all of that is true. I'm just telling you the story.
Yeah.
But the thing about the dog man, I heard it. I never saw anything like that until October, and it wasn't even around here. This was a whole different area that was not here that I saw. That was a different area.
Now, when I asked you the question and you said Shawnee medicine man, Alan asked the question that was on the tip of my tongue, and apparently half the audience in here is asking the same question. But would that be a skinwalker, or is that something?
Skinwalkers are different. Skinwalkers,
Okay.
the dog man. A skinwalker is like shapeshifter. Again, skinwalkers is a touchy situation or touchy subject.
That's what you hear.
Depends on the Native American. Some will not answer that or speak that at all, because there's certain rituals and certain things you carry to protect yourself from that. Funny you should say that, because last weekend, I have two other, they're my first cousins, so they're Shawnee, and we actually did a little thing. We went out, and the one lady is older. She's older than I am, so she does the drumming and the singing. And within 5 minutes of her starting, we started hearing something moving in towards us, because we were out in the woods, and she freaked out. I'm a little more. She's not as woodsy as I am. And so she's like, that's the first thing she said. She's like, oh my God, do you think? I was like, no, it's just one of the watchers moving in. But no, they're different. The skinwalkers are different. That's a different thing.
Yeah. Okay. We probably, before we get to the questions, I mean, we still got 20 minutes, but it seems like you are very detailed in your storytelling, and we love that. So we're probably going to have to end up getting you back. I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed with that. But I'm curious, do you have a story from either your dad or your grandmother? 'Cause I know you said that you had heard stories from them. Which one from either one of them you pick just stands out to you the most?
Uh, well, I've, their first, my dad's first experience, I guess, because I asked him, I was 6 and he was younger than I was. Because, like I said, I think I sent you a picture maybe of dad sitting on the old cabin porch. That's where he grew up at. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know, he was little, maybe 3 or 4. Uh, there's no bathroom. This is an old country cabin, so they had to go outside to go to the bathroom. And his mom had taken him out, which is my grandma, to go to the bathroom. She carried him out. Of course, he just goes over to the edge of the woods. So, yeah, that's it. That's where my dad grew. The guy in the middle, that's my daddy. The little black-haired guy, that's my dad.
Old
Anyway,
picture.
she had taken him out, and he said he went over to sit down, and this huge black figure stood up over top of him. And of course, it scared him. That was the first time he actually saw one. But his mom just walks over. He called her ma'am. He didn't call her mom. He called her ma'am. He said, ma'am walked over and said she just picked me up and stood in front of this huge figure and told him, no, my baby. And she put her hand up and she said it turned and walked away. And I'm thinking, I was 6 and I was with my dad, so I feel dad would protect me over anything. But I'm thinking, this is him this is deep woods where their cabin set is in the deep woods. There's no other houses around. There's no other cabins around. And so, but he's like, no, ma'am, we go. She liked green onions. Wild green onions, because she picked the Shawnee lettuce, the greens. She'd go out and pick them and cook them. But she liked the green onions, and there was a patch. And he said, ma'am would be sitting on one side, that patch of green onions, getting them. And he's like, on the other side, the watcher will be sitting there getting the onions too. So it was, to him, he was comfortable. But again, he was, always be very cautious. I've had, over my lifetime, never, like I said, there's a couple times that it never attacked me that night. I did get hit by a flying cooler last year, and that was Mike's fault. I blame him.
You got hit by a cooler?
Well, like I said, I guide for the Night Stalker group at times, and they had came and they were doing calls. They do the coyote calls, the wolf calls. They put out the calls. They have a different way. Me, I play flute music and I drum, very calm, everything, and I do gifting. Everything I do is very calm because I actually can sense their kind of like a telepath type thing. I feel them, they feel me. I won't go into that because I don't have time. But this night he had been doing calls, and then he messaged me, said, would you mind to walk outside so if you can hear our calls? Well, I came in from work, so I got a skirt on. I did change my shoes. I had tennis shoes on. And it was probably maybe 11:30 at night. Now, once I leave my barns, I'm in pitch black. I'm in the woods. It's dark. And I just walked out by myself, again, being stupid. Had the phone, didn't have a gun. And I get up there, and I hear the screams coming through the woods. And you see these trees, not little trees, but the trees are, coming apart. And I can hear through the brush and whatever. I have a greenhouse back there, and I had my tillers back there, and I have, when you're working the buckets and different things where I put the plants in. I had one of those little red igloo coolers that was sitting there. I had set back against the tree. I put pop and water in it, and all of a sudden, here that thing comes flying out of there like a missile, and it got me right here. And I went down like a sack of potatoes. It was like, boom. I'm on the ground. And
Just an empty cooler?
An empty cooler. I don't know. The lid was off, so whatever was in it just went flying.
Yeah.
But I got hit with, it was just one of the small ones, but the force of it was like, I had a bruise literally like this big right here. And
wow.
so I'm on the ground, and I'm thinking, crap, I'm screwed. You know what? I'm in pitch dark. I don't have nothing. And this is I call him the old grandfather because he's white. His fur is white. He's huge. He had 4 toes last year. He has 3 now. But as he came down out of there, there's a smaller. He's tan color. He's younger and he's smaller. He comes this way, and they met, and that's how I got up, because once they were there squabbling, that was my chance to get up, and I got back to the barn where I keep a pump shotgun hid in the barn for coyotes and snakes or whatever. And
so you saw these two.
Yeah. So I just I started to pull the shotgun, and I was like, "You stupid, get the heck to the house," because my house is all the way down by the road now. And I just I lipped myself back in. I get in the house, and then I message Mike. He don't message me back. So the next day he goes, "Oh, I went to bed." I'm going to freaking kill your ass. But he's like, "Well, I thought about it, But I think it was the calls, though. The calls made it mad. They're being disrupted from their home areas here. So this isn't a place they normally stay. But with all this log and these timbers, these trees is 200 years old. They've not been cut, and they're bringing them down. It's so they're driving. Not only them, the bobcats. Like I said, I got bobcats coming in the barn. I got bears. Because everything is coming out of those woods, and I think that was what it was. They were already mad because they're being disrupted, and then they hear these calls from him, and they're thinking they've got others trying to come into this. They're in this territory now. Somebody else is trying to invade them. Got somebody else trying to break in your door. So I was just the unlucky person that happened to be in between.
Yeah.
So
I've wondered in the past I'm sure it does, but how much call blasting pisses them off.
Oh, they don't like it. That's what I told them. The more agitated they get, I know it probably sounds crazy or whatever, but I've been interacting with them since I was a child. I feel their emotions when they get, I know their voice. It's like, I talk to you and I hear your voice. So if we were in a crowd, I hear your voice a couple of times, I'm going to be able to pick you out of that crowd because I know your voice. That's how I know them. I know their voice. I know their calls. So, and the electrical hum type thing, it's like a giant electric wire, I hear that. But I feel their agitation, I can feel it. And when they do those calls, because I go out, I think they're coming back at the end of the month, actually, because it was here over Memorial Day. But, I know other people do it too.
Yeah.
But it's an agitation. It's like you got your dog in your yard, right? And then somebody comes through with another dog. That dog's barking and growling and yapping. Your dog's here. Then they're, it stirs them up. So it's the same basis. It does the same thing.
Yeah.
And
I know it has to really tick them off and get them going at times. All right, we are right here at that 50-minute mark, so let's jump into some audience questions. We have quite a few, so try to get through these. First one from my good buddy T-Roy. Can you tell us what their faces and bodies look like?
Well, of course, they're big. I've seen different. You have the big ones. Their face is like their fur, their hair, or whatever. But in here, it's like, how you have your face shaved. It's smooth. It has that dark, leathery. Comes around almost, and then the palms of the hands are smooth. The palms of the feet are smooth. So I've seen different color eyes. They have different color eyes.
So I'd say they're like us. They all kind of look different.
Yeah, last summer for the first time, I saw a young female and she had more defined features, almost human-like. It wasn't as because they're big and burly and the whole thing, but she was smaller statued, and her
Okay.
facial features was more human-like, more defined. And that was the first time I seen that. That was something new. So I'm like, I'm not. It's not something that I see in this area. She looked different.
Okay. All right. Next one we got Mr. Ristol. What part of Ohio did all this take place?
I don't give locations, and you probably know why.
Yeah, I do. But can you tell us like central, north,
I'm in
South
southeast.
Ohio?
Southeastern,
Okay,
So,
that's good enough. We didn't. Well, I wasn't looking for your address or anything.
yeah, I know. It's just, well,
All
you
right.
understand. I'm sure you understand.
I definitely understand. Net Hensley, did you take? Well, I guess have you ever taken any pictures?
Um, I have footprints. I have castings. I have, as far as pictures, I do have trail cams, and I do have. I have one. It doesn't actually. It's like a leg, like the hair. It, but as far as getting pictures, your batteries will go dead. There's always that interference. They can. I don't. I'm not sure how. I can't. I'm not scientific, so I don't know why that works like that. But I do know that they will interfere with your electronics in a big way. So I'm never a clear picture. No, I have one where my trail cam picked up on the side of the bank, and I've showed it to different people. I'm not sure. I look at there's my land. Nobody is private. I don't allow hunting. I have trail cams to make sure nobody trespasses, because I
Yeah.
have a lot of very high dollar roots that I grow here that I sell. So I have a pretty good security system that way. So
You know,
yeah,
I find it very refreshing, Donna, that was your answer because I can't tell you how much it pisses me off to have somebody on that in a situation like yours, a possible habituation situation, and you ask them about pictures. Oh, I got tons of pictures. Send them to you, and it's just a bunch of red circles
yeah,
and tree line, just pareidolia crap. And for you to say you can't get a clear picture, so no, I don't. I respect that.
no, it. Now, as far as recordings, I do have some vocal. I have vocal that goes all the way back to the old cassette players, that you put a little cassette in.
Yeah.
I think I found one the other day. It's from like 1994. It's kind of grainy, and you got that the old time where you got thing from when I was a kid. I have more recent vocals.
Okay.
So
Yeah, maybe if you come back, we can play some of those.
yeah. Mike has. She said, he's going to be on Saturday. Mike has some really good vocals. That is from this area, I might say.
Yes, I have all of his audio clips actually already uploaded onto StreamYard. So
Yeah,
Well, all right.
yeah,
They're already in there.
yeah. So the one I was actually, well, like I said, last summer he had an experience where one stepped out of the tree line close to him. I was with him. Um, he was very surprised. I love Mike. He's a super nice guy, and he has a lot of material, and he's been at it for a long time, and he's had some very interesting experiences here. Again, his call blasting got him into some issues where he kind of got chased. So I go for the more calm, and I'll go back to. I have a cot back there. I'm not afraid. I'll go back there. I can lay down and go to sleep. I'm not. And I have. When I was a kid, I actually fell asleep in the creek. And my grandma used to braid my hair because I have real long hair, and she put the ribbons in. Of course, as soon as I hit the woods, I'd take them out, you know. So I got in the creek at day and I laid them on the rock. And I kind of fell asleep. I had little waterfalls and I had a book. I was like 12. And when I woke up, I get in trouble with my grandma because, you know, I wasn't allowed to take my hair down because I get couple burrs in it and stick, you know. But I looked and those are gone, and I'm thinking, crap, I'm going to get a switching, you know, because I thought, well, my brother snuck down there messing with me.
Yeah.
I looked going up to where the creek was, there's a cedar grove, and I seen those ribbons moving, going up through them trees. And I'm like, first I'm thinking, you know, I'm thinking it's my brother's, but then I see the dark figure, and he caught my ribbons. But the next day, because I go back on that rock where he took my ribbons from, he left me an arrow straightener and some shells and some colored stones. So that was my gift back.
Wow. All right. Very cool. Alan, do they seem to stay around through all 4 seasons?
Yes, they do. They stay in more in the winter. Of course, in the summertime, there's, you know, they don't just eat meat. They give them roots and berries. And my little creek, there's got like turtles and crawdads and, you know, minnows. So they get there. So, yeah, but they are here all year. They don't disappear. They're here.
Yeah,
they have underground.
That's a really good question. All right. NW Native Tracker. What color was their skin? Gray, charcoal, tan, sunburn looking?
On the ones, the face is more like a black, dark, but then it kind of goes with the coloring, because like I said, you have the black fur, the brown fur is like a reddish brown, that tan, you have the white. So it's like the eye colors are different. Because I've seen blue eyes, I've seen the dark eyes, I've seen the like orangish red. So they have different. I guess the only way it's like us, you know. There's different skin tones.
Yeah.
So the
more
yeah.
The NW Native Tracker has a kind of a follow up or another question. What shape were their heads?
Now that's a funny thing because the female I seen last year is more defined, like a human head, and I've seen the big old not a real gorilla head, but more primitive. Honestly, I think it's in the genetics, and the older ones, because like the one that was with Dad, my dad would be over 100 years old now, and that one that was with him was old as he was or older. They kind of grow with you, so he's old. But the younger ones, it's like it's kind of, I guess, kind of like they're kind of evolving maybe, so that they're changing a little bit. You still have that primitive look.
So what about we hear reports of the cone head?
I never seen like a cone head, like coconut like type thing or however.
Yeah.
They're more rounder, but they do have that little bit of a. I've seen that little bit of a, not
Okay.
a cone head, but.
We got 2 more to get through here. First one, Troy, have you found any prints? Have you ever found a sebum on the windows, the greasy substance that's sometimes left in their prints on glass?
Well, I sent you some prints that I took out of the creek, I think. And as far as when I moved down here and did my house here, on the front, the screen, it was mud. It had its hand in the mud, and it left that handprint like it was bent down looking in, and it left that on the front, which I never washed it off. It left there until finally the rain washed it off. I did take some pictures. I'll tell you what else you find is the pee. Like when they're having their little ones, they mark their territory. They pee, and I can tell you that pee is like syrupy, and it smells horrible. That I can tell you.
I can imagine. And you're not the first one that I've ever heard that from. All right. Last one, long one from Alan. What their home base looks like. You have any thoughts on shelter caves, etc.? Everyone talks about seeing them going around, peeking into windows, and throwing poop.
Oh, well, I've never had poop thrown at me. I've had acorns and little rocks, kind of like kids pranking. They will look in the windows. Yep, they do. As far as the caves, like I said, we're on top of a big cave system here, so they use the caves. They move in them. Of course, inside those caves, there's water in there. There's springs in there. There's even vegetation that'll grow in there and different things. So
Yeah, I agree with you there. That seems to be a pretty hot topic, and if they use the cave systems or not, but I most definitely think that they do. All right, Donna, thank you so much. This has been awesome, and I think everyone in the audience agrees that we're gonna have to have you back because I know you have some more stuff to talk about.
Oh, I have quite a few. Like I said, I'm an old country person. And I still run through the hills. I have a campsite. I go up. I've been camping. I will go up and camp in a tent. But with a little more activity, I've decided I'm putting in an old time log cabin. I'm just cutting my own trees from my own property and putting it in that way. Because I have a big
Nice.
sprinkler too. So I did. Actually, Micah came up with the idea. He's like, what you should do is get like the two-way glass where you can see out and they can't see in. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to do that, at least in one window. That's a good idea.
That is a good idea. All right. Well, I will be in touch with you sometime, probably tomorrow, to see if we can set up a time. I'd love to get you back on a Saturday night because Saturday nights, that's our after hours, and we go longer. We can go longer than an hour. So if you're not opposed to staying up a little bit later, we go live at 10 o'clock on Saturdays.
Oh, that's fine. I'm usually home. I care for some family members. I'm a caretaker. That's part of my heritage too. Mm-hmm. It's my responsibility, and I take that very seriously. So I'm usually home of the evening, and I'm sure you're going to have a great time with Mike because he's funny.
Yeah, we talked. We talked yesterday, and I was reminding him about a show Saturday, and he's a hoot. He's just really the kindest person.
Yeah, he is. I'd actually sent my link to him, saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this show." He didn't tell me he's not feeling good right now. So his beard could have matched yours a few months ago. He shaved his, cut his down.
Well, and today's his birthday, so we'll
allow it. Yeah.
All right. All right. Again, Donna, thank you so much, ma'am. Had a great time. Looking forward to the next one, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too, and anytime. And thank you so much for having me.
All right. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. That's a good show.
Yeah, I could listen to her forever.
I know. And I was talking to Tiffany. Well, I'm not surprised, because I knew right away she was going to have some cool stuff to talk about. But we were talking, we didn't have a show lined up for today. And literally like an hour, and this was like Sunday, I think. Mm-hmm. An hour later, she messaged me and introduced herself on Facebook. I'm like, hey, we got an opening Tuesday. And so I literally met her like 2 days ago and came on and had a pretty good episode, I think. Yeah. I don't know. We have to see what other people think that are more versed in good shows.
Yeah, we can't be too boring,
Yeah.
I mean.
All right. Anybody going to be on Discord after this for a few minutes?
A lot of people at 8:30. Brian is going to be on live, so a lot of people are going to be there.
Okay, yeah. What's he going on?
I can't remember.
It'll
'cause
be
I'm a
okay.
professional. But just head over to YouTube on Sasquatch Odyssey at 8:30. It'll be there.
Oh, he's doing the show?
Yeah, I think he's gonna link the two together.
Oh, okay. All right. Say your goodbyes, ma'am.
Goodbye. Thanks for coming, and sorry to bore you, but the chick is out.
Guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in, hanging out, always being respectful. You always are. We appreciate you. We love you. Until we talk to y'all again, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.